Section 10 deals with program administration. So the first question is 10.2, and the question is, does the company analyze health and safety records statistics to identify potential trends on an annual basis? So the question really has two criteria, in my opinion. They are annual and trend analysis. So an annual summary with a written trend analysis is what I expect, but ACSA audit reviewers have been known to tell auditors verbally to just go by what the policy states. So for example, this auditor did an audit and a company provides 8 monthly stats, 1 page for each of the 8 months, and there's no trend analysis. The company policy says that stats are to be done for each month. So the score would be 8 out of 12 because they gave me 8 months out of 12 months. So here, there was no annual statistics and there is no trend analysis, but it's still a good score because the instructions from the audit reviewer were just to go by what the policy says. Question 10.3, does the company have a system in place that requires an annual HSMS evaluation or action plan to support continuous improvement? So an example policy statement is just to say that your company name has a policy that requires exactly what that question is asking for. And it's a copy and paste thing again, so that way there's absolutely no doubt as to whether or not you've addressed the audit question. Question 10.5 asks if an action plan was developed to address the previous COR or COR audit findings, and the instructions are to review the relevant documentation to determine if the company developed an action plan to address the previous COR audit findings, including these 3 criteria. So you've got to have a column for measurable action items, you've got to have a column for target and completion dates, and you've got to have a column for individual responsibilities for follow-up. The action items must meet these criteria. They cannot be vague. So 10.6 asks if an action plan was implemented. And so for the completion dates, what you don't want to do is put ongoing. So for example, you might have an action item that says do more training on hazard assessments, and then for your completion date it says ongoing. Well, that's not specific and it's not measurable, so it would be 0 points. So for example, if you had 3 action items and 2 of them said ongoing, and then the third one had a specific completion date, then you'd get 1 out of 3 points on that one. So just try to find a way to put concrete completion dates in the completion date column as opposed to ongoing. And don't forget to check out the video on the generic safety manual, which contains all of these phrases that I have been alluding to here. It's a full manual with a full table of contents, point and click, and it answers all of these audit documentation and policy questions. So make sure you check that out.